this is the Goliath and Leviathan show.
I'm Goliath.
And I'm Leviathan. And this is our very first introduction to the entire series
Yep.
of posting anything online. As you just clicked onto this, you're like, what the heck is this? I don't have any idea what this is. This is weird. Why are there Stuka dive bombers? What is MGTOW? What is the influence with guns and firearms? And just overall, what is this channel? What does it have to be about? It's a variety of things.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna be talking about a bunch of different topics about government and politics and just everything that's going on in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we live in the United States,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna be talking about all the stuff that's been going on, and also, relationship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said, mental.
MGTOW all the way. Yeah.
So it's just gonna be a bunch of topics like that, and hopefully you all like it.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, Goliath actually came up to me a long time ago. It was back in June.
Yeah.
And I had previously done a YouTube channel for just kind of giggles to see what I could make, and this was back in a long time ago, and it aged long ago. But it never really went anywhere. I was just testing the waters. And I was like, well, let's just. I mean, I had other hobbies, other passions. I was in school, and I was just fooling around, putzing around with it. And I always had that kind of an interest and an intrigue in trying to see what I could develop online. And it wasn't until about June of this year, of 2017, that Goliath actually came up to me and we started hitting it off really well. We both worked together at a similar place in retail. But a lot of the ideas we started bouncing back and forth off of each other sort of resonated. And he started hitting off ideas on where we could take things and stuff. If you want to go ahead, Goliath, you can,
Yeah, like Leviathan said, we've been working for a little bit together, and I came up to him about this idea, and I just came up to him one day at work about the idea, and he was like really interested in it, and I was excited as well because I've always had an interest in doing something like this too, like in radio and podcasts,
broadcasting,
so the fact that now it's actually coming together,
yeah,
and we actually like have a show now, a podcast that we're trying to
get off the
put
ground.
out there.
Get it off the ground. And I mean, there's so many variations of things that people can do and post online, and a lot of people do that whole piggybacking thing of they'll create. Well, I remember years ago it was like there was opening boxes and stuff, and that was like a thing on YouTube, or cats and toast like memes and stuff. So there's all these sort of things out there that people like sort of do just to do, and they just do it for fun. But for the most part, it's like why we're doing this is there's all sorts of stuff in our souls that we have of a sort of a passion of hobbies, and we both have a big an understanding in very conservative values in what's going on with the political spectrum, in what's going on with relationships among men and women, what's going on with relationships of other countries, just a whole broad perspective. So this show isn't just going to be about one particular thing. It's going to be a variety of many topics. I myself, Leviathan, I'm more focused on MGTOW and philosophy, and Goliath.
Yeah, I'm more just on politics and just everything that's going on in this country right now. Pretty much, I'm against liberals. And I think that
that goes for a lot of people.
I think that they're pretty much communist, and they're destroying this country and dividing the country.
Yeah.
And they're pointing blame at everybody else, and that's also the thing. Like Leviathan said, this show, this podcast that we're creating now and that we have out here, I feel like there's none that's ever been around like this with the variety of topics that we have to talk about and stuff. And
Yeah, there's a lot of channels out there, and some channels have specifically only on movie reviews, some are
right,
specifically on game reviews, some are specifically entirely on sports, like
and
their
we're a
own.
broad spectrum
Yeah.
of a lot of different topics, and a lot of topics that a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing about, and a lot of people that are going to share the same values and opinions that we have
Yeah.
on these things.
I mean, and then there's always, obviously, with anything you post on the internet, there's always the trolls under the bridge that everybody runs across, which we feed the trolls because, well, they're a part of the internet, ever since there's been any form of an art or any form of branching out to be something unique or different, there's always been criticism.
Yeah, they're hiding behind the keyboard, and
Yeah, and people say oh, this is just pointless and you guys should get a real job. And it's like, we both actually work for a living. This isn't like, I mean, we both work full time.
yeah,
My good friend Goliath over here actually works 2 long jobs all week.
yep.
And I work a full time job myself. And, aside from the hours we put in and other hobbies and passions we have, I mean, I also like to write and to focus on other elements, like with philosophy, but thinking, and this is just a way of branching into expressing ourselves and trying to open up a form of dialogue because there's a lot of censorship going around.
Yes, like YouTube, for instance, is
Mm-hmm.
big. Obviously we have our YouTube account with this, but
They might block us.
yeah,
People might flag us with all the craziness going on with YouTube and Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. See, I don't even have a Facebook page.
yeah,
I mean, I've kind of been against that sort of that Borg mindset of everybody's gotta have to put out everything about their personal life and update and post about it. And I, ever since I was in like middle school and into entering high school, this is a long time ago.
yeah.
Um, I was always kind of on the side about it. Like I saw technology and what was going on with the industry of things and how it used to be for free speech. It used to be for critical thinking. And how a lot of the big tech companies are slowly encroaching on people's ability to talk.
And they're also having a lot of one-sided opinions. They're pretty much, if you have conservative views like me and Leviathan have, they're trying to drown you out. They're trying to bury you in the sand, pretty much, and they just want people to believe in one thing. And it's just like the tolerant left, how they claim to be so tolerant, as they've shown the last year and a half, 2 years, ever since this campaign's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they are not tolerant one bit. And when you disagree with them,
Oh, it's like they're throwing the gulag.
yeah,
It's a
you're racist, you're sexist, you're a homophobe. Those are all the words that they
like,
throw at you.
Hillary Clinton was throwing that out for about half the
Yeah.
country, and they were calling her, "Oh, she's a woman. It's fine." It's like you called out half the country as racist.
I mean, even the whole free speech thing, like Milo just had the free speech week at UC Berkeley in
Yeah, yeah.
California, and they were all the protesters, like throwing. They don't want him, Ben Shapiro,
Yeah.
any of those guys to speak, and it's free speech. It's freedom of speech.
Even if my principle on the matter is this, right? If there's something you don't like to hear that you disagree with, you have every right and reason to get up and walk away.
Turn it off.
To turn it off. It's not like you're being forced to be a Pavlovian dog or something out of some horror movie where you're strapped into a chair of some movie like Saw. Like you're forced to listen to something you don't. It's America. We're in America. We have the right for free speech. Obviously, there's a right to talk about what's on your mind, and there's a very important fundamental thing is you have a right to disagree with somebody, not to be violent.
Yeah.
You have a right to disagree with somebody.
And this is the whole thing that I was talking about with how the mainstream media is turning sheep. They're turning liberals especially into sheep, where they pretty much they'll listen to whatever the mainstream media says.
Yes.
So the mainstream media is completely liberal, pretty
Mhm.
much liberal. Fox News, you might have a little bit where they're more fair than most, but still.
It says like on the when you clicked on this video, one of the clips, it actually showed those six big corporations. There used to be a plethora of places that people could go to for sources of information, for people could get news, and it was actually based on merit. It actually was based on looking for truth and facts, and not so much trying to manipulate people. Maybe they had sort of a bias towards certain things, but for the most part, if you look at the news back in, I don't know, say like the 80s or in the early 90s, I mean, there was always going to be a little bit of a bias towards conservative or liberal values. I mean, but for the most part,
But
it actually had reporting being
right,
done. And
like Trump says, fake news, and
oh yeah.
you know, mainstream media. That's what it is. You know, obviously you can just go back to the election when they had Hillary Clinton at like 98%. I think it was the Huffington Post, 98% chance that she was
Yeah.
going to win the election,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously that didn't happen. There was all those fake polls that came out that said that she was going to win in a
Well, why
landslide
aren't I
victory.
50 point ahead, you might ask?
Yeah,
It's like the sort of narcissism of just an overzealous nature of twisting and mutilating truth to try and push an agenda.
yeah, like
And,
the whole Russia conspiracy
mm-hmm.
that was there was being talked about for months. Then all of a sudden it just disappeared and went away because they found something else to keep people's attention, like the sheep, the liberal sheep. You know,
Right.
because I didn't believe it from the get go,
Mm-hmm.
that Trump and Russia thing. I mean, Hillary Clinton was the one who sold uranium. What was
Yeah.
it, 30% of our uranium to Russia? You know, so I'm just sick and tired of the tolerant left when they say, "Oh, when you go low, we go high," which is total BS. You know, and I'm sick of it all. And another thing is the whole thing that's going on in the NFL right now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk about freedom of speech, which
Oh,
yeah,
we'll talk about
we're
that. We'll
going to
talk
talk
about
about
that
all
very
that too.
soon.
Yeah, it's you know, I'll say something real quick about it. There's one thing to Neil, but they're at work. These players are working right now.
It's an entertainment. It's meant to take you away from
Yeah,
politics. I
and
mean, on a channel like this, it's perfectly normal to have a discourse. But when you're actually in entertainment of sports, people go there to get away from
you have
politics.
people that are customers that are paying to watch the game that they
Hmm.
don't want to see people kneeling. You know, not even coming out like the Pittsburgh Steelers did yesterday. They had one
Hmm.
guy that came out who was a 3 times Army veteran, served 3 tours in Iraq. He
Hmm.
came out by himself, put his hand on his heart for the national anthem, and it's a total joke if you're in that organization,
Yeah.
or the head coach to even. You know, he even said after the game that he didn't want him out there for the national anthem. That's what he said.
Hmm. So all kinds of topics and points we'll get around to talking more of in depth. Right now, this is the Goliath and Leviathan show, and we'll see you the next time
Thanks for
around.
tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.